Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks again for joining me on Hello Crypto. It's Jason Pizzino here. Remember, if you're new, please hit subscribe and check out the links down below for the other channels and whatnot. And yeah, hit the like buttons and we'll get started on the video. So I wanted just to touch on a few of the coins that I'm looking at the moment. And I wanted to visit a few because some of them come up on a lot of videos out there. So I'm like you, I'm also watching YouTube, and you see like the same coins come up quite often. It's almost like all of the coins, like everyone's thinking a similar sort of thing at the same time, or everyone's watched a video and then everyone makes continuous videos of the same topic. At the moment, you would see Neblio and also Smart Cash, and it's just sort of like one person does it, and then the next and the next and the next. And maybe it happens to be like a self-fulfilling prophecy that the more people talk about it, the more it goes up. Seems pretty logical, doesn't it? And then once people stop thinking about it or stop talking about it, it dies off. And it'll keep doing that until it gets some sort of mass momentum. People, it might be talked about a lot more by that point with that mass momentum, but generally it's just sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Everyone's talking about it. So I wanted to touch on a couple of them which I don't really see too many people talking about. I think IOTA people have started talking about it again since that little pump the other day, when we had Bitcoin drop a little, and then IOTA and the rest of the altcoins jumped up a fair bit. But IOTA is something that I've been watching for a while, and I have bought it quite a long time ago. Not at the ICO, but when it just died off a little bit after the ICO. And then again, as it rallied a little, it fell off. And then through this period around July, when it was just sitting around its lows, a friend of mine was saying, I think it's a good time now. And lo and behold, after that, it just rallied, 2.5 times, nearly 3 times its value right to the top there. So it got a little bit more there. And then FOMO set in, and I did buy a little bit at that top because it just looked like it was going to keep going. And then after that, I just waited it out and just let it come all the way back down. But IOTA looks like one of those that is settling into a bottom. I would probably expect it to drop back another 10% from there and test the bottoms again, the bottom that we see around mid-July and the recent one around mid-October. So that was sitting around this is about 7,300 sats, or at the low there, around 7,000. So that's sort of where I would be looking at another buy-in point. If it goes lower than that, I'm pretty happy with that point because I've seen it support there several times and then bounce straight back. So, if it happens to go lower, that's what happens. But I think that's a pretty good level to be getting in again if you want to get IOTA. That's personally where I'm going to be going, and just keep adding to that base because I think IOTA's a pretty good one that will. It's a pretty good token. It's got a lot of potential, something quite different to the rest of the blockchain out there. And if it doesn't work out, if Tangle just happens to be, piece of crap, that's life. That's investing. So that's one of them I'm looking at there. The next one, and this is going to be a huge, shock, or people are just hate on it, but it's Dogecoin, or however you like to pronounce that yourself. I like Dogecoin because it looks quite predictable, if you know what I mean. Like scroll out, just compress the chart, and it just looks like pump and dump and pump and dump. And it gets to these levels that I've drawn lines in here, around the 30 sats down to about 20 sats. The lowest it's ever been is 15 sats, so Satoshis. I'm just shortening it because I'm Australian, so we'll go with that. When it hits that level, it looks like it stays there for some not a very long time actually. You might get a couple of weeks out of it, a couple of months, and then it just shoots off. The other times that it doesn't reach that level, it doesn't really have such a big base. It doesn't have like such a strong momentum to bounce out of like we see around May, June of 2015. But yeah, go back, use your Coinigy, use TradingView, whatever you have, and just set some levels. It sounds like such a easy, stupid, noob, ridiculous thing to do. It's like, who the fuck would buy Dogecoin? But at the end of the day, I'm not holding this thing forever. It's just something that I think has better potential than anything else, than other coins that I'm looking at, to double, triple, quadruple, quintuple. I should look up that word, but I think it's got a pretty good chance of doing that same sort of movement again and again and again. People have all sorts of reasons why it won't happen this time, but I'm not taking those into consideration because they had them last time when it hit the bottom in March. They had it in the time before when it hit the bottom in December 2015. They had it before when it hit the bottom in September 2014, August, September. Like, you hear it time and time again. There's too many coins. There's so many more being mined all the time. Things have changed. Things are different. It won't happen again, so on and so forth. I'm taking that chance because the chart looks like it will be ready to pop at some point. I think it needs a little bit more cooling off time. Like, I think we could see the break of the all-time low. Maybe it will go to 12, 10 sats, somewhere around there, and then I think it will take off. Now, if I'm buying them down that point, I only need to see it hit 50 sats, 80 sats, and I have 5 times, 8 times the value of whatever I invested at that point. And I'm just starting to collect them all down here. And you can probably see on my chart there, it says order sell at 120. I'm looking at 5 times return on this at least. So I've got some, my first lot I picked up at around 20, that's 6 times. So yeah, 20 and 25. And then I've just been collecting them as it's dropped. So as it hits 17, I'm looking at some of those support levels. You can see here that it likes that 17 level. That's it on the 13th of October. And then it's starting to ease out. Like we're not seeing as sharp dips. And that's why I like Doge. I've talked about Doge for long enough right there. Let's move on to the last one. So this is one of the ones that you see a lot of the channels talk about, and it is somewhat of a self-fulfilling prophecy in my eyes. Neblio. I'm sure you would have had to have heard of that by now in the crypto world, unless you're living under a rock. Neblio, I've got some resistance levels drawn on my chart here. I was looking at it back in October. I think that was the first time I saw it on Dash's channel, and then that had a nice rally. And then again, a few other channels, I forget now, they had been talking about it, and it's risen not that much, and it's having its pullback from that point. So it's risen from the 21st of October up into the 24th. So just 3 days up, whereas before we saw it rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days up. So it's 50% in time and a bit more than 50% in price. The volume's died off on this rally. It's tried to break the Bollinger Bands and it's fallen below that. And the RSI has fallen below the previous top of the RSI. So I believe that's like a bullish divergence. Correct me if I'm wrong there. So I don't see this going up again. I'm seeing this pull back. And then from that point, I think we'll take off again. So this needs some time to rest, in my opinion. And that's why I won't be getting into Neblio right at this point. It just needs a little bit more time to rest after its 3 rallies. That's something else I look for, three moves in one big move. So 3 sections, you could say. I guess the people that are looking at Elliott wave and that sort of stuff, they would understand that as an A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave, but I look at sort of Gann theories. So that's my view on those 3 coins. I think they're very different, and I kind of like that because it just allows you to spread your risk across a few different asset classes or a few different areas that people are looking at. I don't think the same people that are looking at IOTA will be looking at Doge and will be looking at Neblio. Neblio and IOTA maybe, but I don't think you'd see the same people looking at Doge and these sort of things. There is a lot of volume with Dogecoin. Something else will happen with that. I don't think it'll ever die. It's one of the first ones. It has a pretty big community out there, and it's just something that continuously pushes and then falls. So take a look at it if you like. If not, you got something else better there, let me know in the comments below. I will see you at the next video. Thanks again for joining me. Remember to like the video, and until next time, take care. Peace out.